Hello and welcome to another Win Daily Sports Show. My name is Michael Raziel. I'm here with my man Stoweby, and we are talking this. Stoweby, you defined it as a trash fire. I think I'm going to go a little bit more with a tire fire of this NFC East Thursday night matchup. We have the Giants, we have the Eagles, and we have nobody happy watching this game. But that is why we're going to make some DFS lineups. That's why we're going to place a couple bets. That's why we're going to do what we do. So make sure dumpster fire. I appreciate that. S-Guy already chiming in. So if you have any other fires, everybody, give them to us. Stoweby, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, every day with football, even when it's a bad game, it's still football.
Exactly. It's still football. We're already starting to see. I mean, shout out to the poor Raiders fans. I have a very good friend of mine. He was in my wedding. I'm going to be in a wedding with him tomorrow. His name's Jeremy Wright. He's a very big Raiders fan. And they lost their entire offensive line to COVID. Whether they all tested positive or if it's contact tracing, I'm not 100,000% on that. But all you Josh Jacobs owners like myself got a bunch of shares of him. Sticks was high on him. So, of course, I was too this year. It's going to suck. It's not going to be great. But as you said, every day with football is a good day. I'm going to watch it. I'm actually going to a buddy's house. Some Eagles fans. We have some Giants fans. We're going to yell at each other, and we're going to put money down on the game. If you haven't already, and you're curious, and you want to get those updates, you want to see how that might affect some of your lines. We also saw that because of that COVID protocol, we had everything pushed. We had the Bucks Raiders flex to 4:00, and then we have the Seahawks Cardinals game flex to 8:00. And Stoweby has been you've been on this crusade the last couple of days of saying, don't make lineups until at least Friday or Saturday. What are we doing, guys? And obviously, this is a big reason why. So tell the people why they should wait until Friday or Saturday or even Sunday morning to set their lineups.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's all it is you have injury reports that get put out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And the way that these things change, especially when you have offensive linemen, you have cornerbacks, you got these key skill position players. When they get injured, that's where your value opens up, and that's where potential GPP plays open up. If you have like a lockdown cornerback that is either doubtful or out and you don't know about it, you can potentially target a high upside wide receiver and put them in your put them in your lineup at reduced ownership and break the slate that way. And I can guarantee you, I've never put a lineup in before, Friday or Saturday that has stayed like that. Your lineups are never like that. I mean, you can get an idea of pricing if you want to glance or anything like that, but you're honestly spinning your tires until about Saturday.
Yeah, I completely agree. Maybe make a couple dummy lineups, just kind of see where it's like, okay, I'm really honing in on this guy, where some of the places I can go from here, of course. But it's definitely, this is case in point, and this is a very drastic case in point.
Oh, yeah, it's the extreme.
But it's obviously that's this year, right? That's 2020. I mean, it was fine for the first couple weeks, and then it really just kind of fell out apart. So, it's not great. So we're gonna see what happens, but we appreciate it. We appreciate everybody coming in, chiming in, leaving some comments. We got a gentleman on Facebook right now, Fulgham, Wentz, Jones, Ingram. Oh, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. But first, we got to plug a couple things. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, give us a subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you are checking out the podcast, which this is not, but we have a podcast where we put out pretty much almost daily episodes. Make sure to check that out, Win Daily Sports Show. It's a lot of fun. I host pretty much all of them, and I love it so much. That's why I do this. And if you want gold membership, we're going to give you a code for Monkey Knife Fight in a little bit. 3 months free if you deposit $10 onto Monkey Knife Fight. Use promo code WINDAILY. 3 months free of our gold membership, which includes our expert chat, where Stoweby feels like 24/7. But if you just want to check out the expert chat, see what it's all about, windailysports.com/chat, CHAT. 7 free days in the expert chat. You get everything that it has, all the NFL, all the little bit of MLB that's left, all the esports. We cover everything. Soccer. It's insane how we've just been absolutely murdering soccer. When the Champions League come back, Austin and Rich do their thing. Everybody makes a bunch of money. And all the writers are like, oh, shit, we have access to this. We should probably go play some soccer now. So I think
I was thinking that when I saw the screenshots. Maybe I should go ahead and start playing some soccer.
It was 2 days in a row too. We had we had a family member have a takedown, and then the next day, I think the same guy or another guy comes in, gets second place, wins another $1,000. So that's what we're here to do. We have betting, we have DFS, we have season long. We are here to help in everything, and we promise you that. So without further ado, let's look at this tire fire of a game. Let's see what we got here. It's not great, man. I'm not going to lie. Being a Giants fan, I got my Saquon jersey on, my jersey. It's sad. It's a terrible year. Giants have one of the worst offensive lines. The Eagles have a good pass rush. But the Eagles also, I think, are legitimately do not have a single one of their offensive linemen from the starting offensive line in this game. It's just Carson Wentz is the only one that's left. They have lost all their starting receivers. Miles Sanders is out. Boston Scott is in. We saw what he did against the Giants a couple times last year, so that might be something just to pay attention to. But man, this is awful.
There's
Okay,
probably it's awful, and the prices don't
wait.
reflect it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's the shittiest part. The last question before we hop into specifically who we're going to be playing in this game, Stoweby. Number of wins the NFC East winner has over under 6.5.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna go 7.
Nope.
6.5 is a good number.
Right? I think because I could legitimately see somebody winning this division 6-10 with how hurt and injured and terrible these teams are.
Yeah, this is awful. Somebody is
Somebody
gonna
has
get a
to
home
win,
field game.
right?
It's
And
bad.
the thing is, we're like kind of far into the season. This is week 7. Like we're like almost halfway through the season, and the leading team is going to have 2 wins. That's bad. That's bad.
This is man. This is the worst NFC East I've seen, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
There have been some competitive seasons where 8-8 wins the division, and I think the Giants didn't they win a Super Bowl going 8-8, 9-7,
9-7, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
bad, man.
Yeah, it's really rough.
I think there's no shot at even an 8-8 winner. But if it is, unfortunately, I think it's going to be the Eagles. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, I mean, they got to play each other, so eventually it'll level out.
Exactly.
But
they will have to win games. I don't think everybody's going to tie. The Eagles are only capable of doing that once every few years against Cincinnati. But let's all right, let's look at the game a little bit. So we're checking out DraftKings here. It's going to be similar to FanDuel. Obviously, here on DraftKings, a little bit more difficult with the pricing. We have the 1.5 times the points, 1.5 times the investment into your lineup. So that is why we really do focus a lot of our time here on DraftKings. As I said, we're going to check out Monkey Knife Fight in a minute too. But in terms of captain spot, where do you think most of the chalk is going to be tonight?
I think it'll be Wentz tonight.
Yep.
I think most people are just gonna go ahead and throw a quarterback in there, and Wentz is even without weapons. I mean, he does have Jackson back for however long he lasts.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to be the big chalk tonight.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to point out, as bad as the Giants have been offensively, defensively, they haven't been great, but they haven't been
bad.
They haven't been terrible. They have a solid run defense. James Bradbury, one of the key free agents that they picked up, has actually been good this year. Good, not great. I mean, they're paying him a lot of money to be good, so that's another question, but it's definitely going to be interesting. So I think I'm really curious to see how this game goes. I think the Giants lose. The line actually moved. It started at 5.5, came down to 4.5. It actually came back up to 5 now, plus -5 to the Eagles. So we'll see what happens. I don't think a lot of points are going to happen. So maybe this is more of a defense, but both of these defenses suck. So it's like, what the hell do we do, Stoweby? What the hell do we do?
Yeah, it got 44.5 point total, and honestly, I think that's too high. I would take the under if you're in a place where you can play props.
100%. So talk to me a little bit. So if we think Carson Wentz is going to be the chalk, and we actually have a question over here, Jeff Parker on Facebook, captain tonight for FanDuel. So for FanDuel, we just want to throw in whoever we think is going to have the most points. Because it's one thing with DraftKings because of that 1.5 times multiplier for the price to get in that captain spot. On FanDuel, we don't have that. So whoever you think is going to score the most points, and in this case, it's probably going to be Carson Wentz is my assumption. But granted, I think we saw him start like 2 of 8 with like 2 picks the other day too. So like, shit, man, like I honestly have no idea what's going to happen. But Jeff, whoever you think is going to be the highest scorer, which I think I'm on with Stoweby. I think it is going to be Carson Wentz because you can still pass the ball on this Giants team. That's at least the way I'm thinking about it. So I would shoot for Carson Wentz there. So back to you, Stoweby. With Carson Wentz going in that top spot, I mean, even 16-2 for a captain is really not like that crazy. That's, I think, just shows us how bad it is. Miles Sanders out, Dallas Goedert out, Alshon Jeffrey out. Sterling Shepard might be coming back. Zach Ertz out, Jalen Reagor out. I mean, it's Saquon. I mean, we don't have to talk about Saquon. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah, it hurts my heart a little. I was really looking at
I got it.
I mean, I'm not even a Giants fan, and that hurt me a little bit. I like the guy.
It's so sad. But anyway, so moving on from there, do you think how much Daniel Jones can we really play tonight? The Giants have scored like 3 offensive touchdowns, I want to say, this year. 5 maybe, and I think 5 is a little much. Like in that game against the Cowboys, I think they scored 1 offensive touchdown, and it was like
And
a
they were
rush to
talking,
Evan
and
Ingram. Like,
they talked about it for the entire game.
yeah, it's
It
like,
seemed
oh
like
my
after they
god.
scored it. Yeah, I would largely stay away from Jones. Even if he does score a touchdown or two, he's gonna turn around and
Mhm.
probably turn it over
Twice.
3 or 4
Yeah,
times. Yeah,
at
you know,
least
it's
minimum twice. Yeah, minimum
yeah,
twice.
yeah. It's so he's gonna give some of those points back.
Mhm. All right,
So
all right. So
I don't like
yeah,
his ceiling.
staying off him. Obviously Sanders is out as well. So if Sanders is out, pivoting to Bart Scott, I think he's going to be super chalky. And then, as I
Mhm.
said, in 2 games against the Giants last year, is kind of feels like that's his entire career at this point. How do you feel about playing him again against like an actually decent Giants run defense?
Well, I mean, he can catch the ball out of the backfield too, so
Mhm.
I have no problems with him going out into the flats. That's the Giants' weak spot. I've actually been talking about their front four since the beginning of the season. They look good. I watched
Mhm.
that whole game, and they were pushing off, and they were getting behind, or they were getting into the backfield. So if they have enough time to kind of uh, toss it off out into the flats and let him run, he can still do that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I like that. So maybe we throw in a little Boston Scott. But where else? Like where do you think some of our value players are going to come from? Are you going to dip down to Golden Tate? Are you going to be interested in Deshaun Jackson at 5,800?
if you
Greg
if you
Ward at
want to do
40?
if you want to do MME with Deshaun Jackson and hope he catches two
Mhm.
long ones, his snap share is not going to be anything to write home
Mhm.
about today, and he is. I'm
Old.
just worried. Yeah, I'm worried he's going to injure it again because he had one full practice in the entire time he was out, and that was just a few days ago.
Mhm.
If he pushes himself too far, he's going to end up coming right off the field again.
100%. And we actually have a question over here from Robert. Wentz or Jackson better for the MVP on FanDuel? As Stoweby just said, we really don't even think Jackson's going to get that many snaps. So we'll really have to see what happens there. So most likely going to go Wentz over
Yeah,
there on
if
FanDuel.
you're in the big contest and you just
Mhm.
want to get really crazy to try and differentiate yourself, if you want to put a share or two of Jackson, if you're doing a bunch of entries, go ahead and do it. But I wouldn't if that's your only lineup, or if you're only doing 2 or 3 lineups. I'd stay away from it.
Yeah, I would probably stay away from him as well. So where can we find that value to put in some of these players we like? Or do you really not even think we need value because we're only going to be going one quarterback, maybe one wide receiver? Like it's just such a ridiculous build. I think this is going to be an interesting one because it's going to get so different because we don't know anything about either of these offenses because they both suck.
Yeah, they're terrible. Um, I think you could a case can be made for Golden Tate today. Um, I
Can
was
it
kind of
though?
yeah.
Can
I
it
mean,
really
as
make
much as it
make
can be.
the case? I mean, I want you to make the case for Golden Tate, please.
Oh man. Okay. All right. You're gonna make me do it.
Yes.
All right. Well, a lot of what they run in Philly, they either run a switch between a cover one man concept with a single high safety, which is vulnerable to crossing routes, and if they have the full complement of receivers, they can run a bunch of rubs, run a bunch of crossing routes, and Tate's always been pretty good at running that
Mhm.
sort of underneath stuff. And additionally, they will run a cover two concept that will also leave the out routes and the flat routes vulnerable.
Mhm.
And because they always seem to run zone underneath a lot of times, but they can kind of get themselves crossed up in Philly right now because of all the injuries.
Mhm.
So I do think Tate can at least get underneath and sit in those zones on the underneath stuff. And when they go man, if they run the right scheme, run the right route combination,
Mhm.
then he can be the man open. I wanted to say Slayton again, but his foot worries me because it's a lot of the same concepts as the last time we
Mhm.
actually talked about Slayton,
Yep.
but I'm worried about that injury a little bit.
Okay. I get that. Yeah, I'm a little worried about him too. I think I'm only starting him in one league, but it's still not super excited about it. So, with all the injuries, as you said, kind of you can get out into the flat. Do you think Devonta Freeman has a good game, potentially catching a few balls here as well?
Yeah, I think he could catch a few. I'm never really high on Freeman anyway.
Yeah.
I've never been a Freeman guy, but I mean, who else they got? He's looked okay. He
Yep.
hasn't looked great, but I mean, he's getting the usage. We all know he can catch the ball. He did it for years in Atlanta. He's been running decent. So, and also with the Eagles, they also run a wide 9 concept, which leaves the middle of the line open, and he can break off 4, 5, 6 yard chunks and get a little something out of it that way. So Freeman does fit.
I like that. I like that. And then we have a question over here. Hightower. How do you feel about him? I mean, that's kind of we're following. We're
We're going a
1,200. I
long
mean,
way down.
that's a way to save a couple bucks, especially here on DraftKings.
I don't think you need to with Jackson being back. Like I said, he's going to get the reduced share. I I mean, if you want to get really crazy,
Isn't this just so frustrating, right? Like, this is probably the hardest one you and I have done. It's like,
it
I don't
has.
know.
This is
Like, both
bad.
these teams suck. Like, who the hell? Honestly, at this point, I want to play Jake Elliott, Graham Gano, and then just just call it a
Yep.
day. Graham Gano
hmm
did crazy the other couple weeks, and we know
hmm
Jake Elliott's good for a 60-yarder against the Giants every once in a while.
Well,
So,
there have been in the tournament winning lineups over the last couple of weeks. There have been kickers
mhm,
and or defenses in those lines. So that is more than viable. And there's also, I mean, if you want to really go dumpster diving, just go
yep.
to Jason Kroom. Because
Mm,
if Hakeem Butler sits again, he was a healthy scratch, and that was the first game that Kroom had ever played for the Eagles,
mhm.
and they targeted him once, caught a touchdown. If Butler ends up sitting again, I'd imagine he might get a few more looks.
That's
He
a way
does
to
they
get.
do like to throw to tight ends,
And if you throw
and
in Kroom, that opens everything up.
nobody's going to be. I doubt he's going to be getting used
Mhm.
very much.
And I think one guy that a couple guys up top that I think, if we do go Kroom to find a little bit of value, you can obviously go Hightower. Again, this is a showdown. So all these plays are obviously, as Stoweby said before, you can make a case for Golden Tate at 6,600. You can make a case for Greg Ward at 4,800. I think we're taking the over in Styx's props. I want to say it's 32 and 3.5 receptions. So there's some free picks for everybody if you can legally find those somewhere. Legally find those somewhere. Take the overs we have on Greg Ward. But how Travis Fulgham came out of nowhere 2 weeks ago, Sunday Night Football. We watched him torched the 49ers. And I mean, I don't even know if it was them torching the 49ers. It was just kind of they stopped covering him. It felt like every other play. So Carson Wentz kept going to him this week against the Steelers. Same thing again. Last week against the Ravens, I don't think it was as crazy, but again, had a pretty solid game. I mean, 3 games in a row, obviously, Carson Wentz, he doesn't have any other wide receivers. Seems like this guy is his guy. How do you feel about him overall and also especially up here on DraftKings in this captain spot?
I'm actually good with him there. He's got a connection with him.
Hmm.
He's looked pretty good. I've went and checked out some of his old films, old highlight tapes. He's a baller. He's a legitimate player. I think he was just buried, and now that he's got his opportunity, I don't really think Deshaun Jackson's going to take enough targets to
No.
get away from him. And even with Jackson back, still doesn't really have anything to throw to.
Yeah.
So I'm good. If you want to put him in a captain spot to go ahead and get a little bit different, I think he'll be a little higher
Mhm.
owned in the captain spot
Yeah, I
than
think
we
so too.
might think. He might sneak up there and get around 8, 9, 10%. I
Mhm.
haven't looked at the projections on that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got close to double digits.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised either, considering the weeks that he has had, and how bad this Giants defense is. Again, if he gets Bradbury, we'll see what happens because Bradbury's been the best by far of the defensive backs on the Giants. But I think again, overall, it's not a great team. Evan Ingram, kind of as a Giants fan, like this is the one year he's healthy, and they just decided not to use him. So that's been a lot of fun to watch. But
That's Jason Garrett.
oh, Jesus Christ. How do you feel about Evan Ingram tonight? I mean, his one touchdown this year was a
Was a
rushing
run.
touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a rushing touchdown. So we know they're trying to, I guess, get him involved in some way, shape, or form. Him and
Yeah,
Daniel
but
Jones last year, they looked good for those like 3 games. Like, I don't know, man. What do you feel about Evan Ingram?
I don't think Ingram's the problem.
Well, yeah, I don't. I mean,
He's still fine. I just
he's
think Garrett's
healthy,
not.
so you can't
Yeah,
blame it on him this year. Like, that's the thing. Like, yes, he's not the problem this year because he's on the field.
yeah. Honestly, until they start putting forth a concerted effort and putting him into the game. I mean, I've got him in my seasonal. I'm sitting with him on my bench right
Mhm.
now, and I just can't justify using him. I mean, you're going to have to use him a little bit in the showdown slate, but I don't feel all that confident in him. And it doesn't have anything to do with him. He's running the routes fine. It's just schematically, Jason Garrett is who he is.
Mhm.
It's the Cowboys and the Giants both, neither of their hires made sense for me. It's like they hired the same person.
Pretty
It
much.
really is.
It's not great. It's not a good look. It's at least funny that the Cowboys, obviously I wasn't happy about the Dak injury. That just sucked. But it's funny
No,
that all the players are now coming out being like, yeah, Mike McCarthy's a terrible coach. It's like, dude, we're like 5 weeks into this. Like, this is not good.
I
This is
was.
bad to have
I'm
this
not.
happen.
I'm not going to name the company there, but there was another analyst site that was touting the crap out of Mike McCarthy as a hire for the
Nice.
Cowboys, and I'm going to leave that be.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
yeah, when I
Okay.
was sitting there laughing, I was like, okay, I am definitely never going to subscribe to you. That was before I was writing full time,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and check you guys off the list because you're kind of a
Wrong.
little crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're really
wrong.
wrong.
And it's very clear. And we appreciate you being here all the time, Stowey. I
I
do
love
want
it.
to say that. We appreciate the hell out of you and everything you do. So I don't know, man. I guess we have like some sort of lineup in front of us. We have Wentz, we have Tate, we have Kroom. That's way we can get very, Tate and Kroom. I mean, if you do Tate alone is some
Is
solid
enough.
value. Kroom
Yeah.
is a significant amount of value. If you do Kroom, you can pretty much do whatever you want from that point moving forward because of the Miles Sanders injury and him being in that 5-digit range. I guess from here, like where would you go? Let's take out Kroom because I think that makes it just a little too easy. So we have 3 spots left: Wentz, Tate, Fulgham. Where are you kind of thinking about this build? Let's think about the script here. Like how does this build work? Obviously, Carson Wentz is throwing the ball to Fulgham a lot. We like to see that. They go
Mhm.
up. So Daniel Jones has to throw the ball a little bit. So we have to go out and get Golden Tate. Is there another wide receiver on the Giants side that you'd be interested in grabbing just in case there is that opportunity that Daniel Jones throws 3 touchdowns and there's only 2 guys and then he has like 8 interceptions anyway. So we don't really need him in our lineups.
The only two people that I think will catch touchdowns for the Giants would be Ingram or Slayton,
Mhm.
but my confidence level's not that great on it, just because the injuries and then the utilization for Ingram, like we had talked about. But if I have to choose one or the other, I
No,
mean,
I don't think. I mean, I mean, we can go Freeman if you think, but I'm just trying to build the game script for everybody to see kind of
I
how our
like I like
process works.
I like Freeman.
Yeah.
If we're gonna, I do like the idea of having Freeman because they're still gonna use them even when they get
Hmm.
behind, and I really
Yeah.
don't think they're gonna get far enough behind to where it's gonna be an abandon the run type of game.
Hmm.
I mean, we both think it's gonna be kind of,
Bad.
yeah. So I don't really see it getting so far out of hand like they go down by 2 to 3 scores at any
Mhm.
point in time. I think it's just going to be nasty, dirty football, and we'll get lucky and maybe get a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah. If we're lucky.
Yeah.
So from here, it seems like, I mean, considering again this game script that we're rolling with, this is, it sounds like we'd probably fill this out with defense and kickers at this point, correct?
Yep. That's what
And
I was
so,
thinking. Either
yeah,
or both kickers.
yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
again, Graham Gano had 5 field goals and 3 or 4 of them were over 50 yards a couple weeks ago against the
mhm.
Cowboys. Jake Elliott's always good for like a 67-yarder against the Giants. Can't do that against the Bengals for some reason, but he could do it just fine against the Giants. So, I guess in terms of defense, I do want to talk there for a second. Both are not great. Which one do you, I like? Would you lean Eagles just because of the turnover? Just because Daniel Dimes pretty much turns the ball over?
Yep. Yep. That would, yeah, that
Daniel
would be
Dimes.
my
That's cute.
Danny Pesos. He's got to earn that full moniker back.
Mr. Pennies. Yeah, Mr. Pennies. How about that?
Oh man, it's rough. Yeah, Eagles would be my lean if I were to pick a
Yeah.
defense. They have the higher likelihood of kind of getting to them a few times, getting some strip sacks,
Mhm.
and maybe getting a pick six. So that would be my go-to.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is definitely a solid build right here. You can fill this in with either kicker. I'd probably even lean Graham Gano because the Giants are incapable of getting into the end zone. Like even from like the 6, they're still going to
Hmm.
kick the field goal. So I think he's granted they have to get there, of course. I think that part's pretty important. But if they get there, they're not going to punch it in. We've seen that already. So where do you think, Carson Wentz we think is going to be the major chalk? Where do you think the major pivot's going to be? Do you think that's going to be Fulgham?
I actually still think that people are gonna pit if they do pivot, they'll pivot to Daniel Jones. But my
Okay.
my choice would either be Boston Scott or Fulgham
Let's
for
roll
my
Boston
pivot.
Scott. Yeah, let's
Okay.
roll Boston Scott again. He's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. We saw, I think he had a 3 touchdown and a 2 touchdown game against the Giants last year. So that's kind of like most of his career right there. So I wouldn't be surprised as a Giants fan that it just happens again. So if we go Boston Scott, let's get that great game script down. This is a game where we think he's going to run the ball. He's going to get a few yards on the ground. He's probably going to run out the clock a little bit. He'll catch a couple of those dumb passes on like 3rd and 8. He'll get those first downs just to keep that clock tick, 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 tick.
Mm-hmm.
So the game script in this case, if we do start with Boston Scott in our captain spot, where do you want to go from there?
Philly defense.
Yeah,
because that makes sense. If they're going to be running it and if it's going to be a down and dirty game like we talked about, we get a couple of turnovers and it ends up being a ground attack for Philly to kind of just take the air out of the ball and just end the game quickly. Scott and the defense would be the first two that I would like to go with.
Okay, I like that, and I love that. Again, we're trying to build this out as if the game was happening in front of us. And again, we're going to build a couple lineups here as we've already done one. We'll go through this one right here as an exercise. But you need to understand when you're building 10 showdown slates, 10 showdown lineups, make sure that it makes sense, right? Like if you do think it's going to be a high scoring game, play both quarterbacks. If you think this game's going to suck, play both running backs. Like you have to understand if you think the Eagles are going to go up huge. So we're going to want to get the ground here for Boston Scott, but then we're probably going to want to run it back with some wide receivers from the Giants just to make sure and understand. So if we do think the Eagles defense is going to be good, they can score a lot of points because the Giants aren't going to get touchdowns and they're probably going to get turnovers, but that doesn't mean the Giants won't try to move the ball. So where do you want to go from there to kind of bring it back on the other side?
I still like the idea of Tate just because he is the healthy pass catching option. I keep going back to him just because I don't have a lot of faith in what's going on there. And then Ingram or Slayton would be my lean. I'm trying to figure out which one. I love Slayton. I am a truther all day long, but as a foot injury, he could go out at any given point.
Yeah,
but let's go ahead and go Slayton here.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw Slayton in because we've actually seen him do something this year.
Yeah,
I think that's the only thing. He's
not
had not
run one in.
Yeah, exactly. Not his one touchdown was like a run from the 3. Which hey, you got to get him however you get him. I think that's important. So Boston Scott, Eagles. Then obviously we think the Giants are going to try and throw the ball a little bit. We think they're going to come back. We don't think Danny Dimes is going to do too much other than turn the ball over though. These last two spots, then, again, through that game script, is there an Eagles wide receiver that you would want to punch in there? Do you think it's worth taking Carson Wentz and putting him in there because we think he might throw a touchdown to Boston Scott? Where do you want to go with one of these last two spots?
Let's go. I definitely want to have at least one kicker in each of the spots, but if we're going to go with a pass catcher today, I still think we need to lean on Fulgham. At least one more week. I think next week we might have some problems because Goddard, I believe, is off of the IR now. So there's potential if Jackson stays healthy through this game and has a good week that they could have, two of their bigger pass catching options back, and then we might see some diminishing returns on him. So they might wear him out tonight.
Yeah, we will see. And I think that's it's interesting, man. I don't know. Goddard is in a smash spot coming out. So any season-long people, if you haven't picked him up already,
do it now before people realize it.
Zach Ertz is already out for, I think, the next 4 to 6 weeks was his diagnosis. So we'll see what happens there. Miles Sanders is going to be out this game, potentially next game. And as we've seen, Deshaun Jackson's coming back, but I'll put my stopwatch on and see how long it lasts. But also, dude hasn't been good in like 4 years. I think we all kind of remember that one game he had last year against the Reds.
And when he got injured and had that hernia or that mesh issue with his abdomen. Yeah.
Like I don't
know. I mean, kudos to him for trying to gut it out the way that he did. I mean, he's tougher than I ever gave him credit for. But I mean, when your hamstrings start to go out all the time, I look at him the same way I look at Will Fuller as far when it comes to seasonal stuff. I don't mind him in best ball, but I mean, they can blow a tire out any given time and be out, 2, 3, 4 weeks and then keep re-injuring it. Yeah.
It's very unfortunate, but this is a pretty solid breakdown of what we're thinking tonight for the Giants and Eagles game. But we're not finished yet. No, we are not finished yet. We have one last thing that we get to do. We are going to be checking out Monkey Knife Fight. If you go over to monkeyknifefight.com and you use promo code WinDaily, you deposit $10, we give you 3 months free of WinDailySports.com gold membership. So that's all of our articles, all of our projections, which is what Styx does and how he just won, like $200,000 last week.
Yeah. Mr. Live final qualifier.
Yes. Yep. He got his live final qualifier. So we appreciate the hell out of him. You get the expert chat and you get pretty much everything else you want from the site. It is an absolute blast. We're here to help We're here to help you win money. As Sticks always says, yes, obviously he's happy that he won that money, but he's even happier when he sees people screenshots for $1, $2, $3,000 when that is their
Yep.
biggest win, because he's been doing this a while. He wants to do this professionally, whatever the heck that means. He really just wants to play golf. We'll be honest
That's
about
all
that.
it, yeah,
We love
that's
you,
what he
Sticks,
wants. He
but
wants to play. He wants to play
yeah,
golf and do a little fantasy sports on the side.
exactly.
Actually, yeah, one of our commenters had a nice big win not too long ago either.
Yeah,
I won't say who. Yeah, I think he won right around $1,000.
hell yeah.
He sent me the screenshot. He's hit a few of them. Me and him kind of talk back
Mhm.
and forth a lot on private chat.
There we go, man. As long as we are helping people, and that's what we appreciate the hell out of you as well, Stoweby. As I said, Stoweby is in that expert chat all the time. So if you go deposit $10 on a monkeyknifefight.com, use promo code WINDAILY. First off, they're going to match you at least $10. So you can give up to 50. It's a $50 matching bonus. We are going to give you a couple picks tonight to double that money right now. So automatically you give them 10. They're going to give you another 10. You're going to take that 20. You're going to turn it into 40. So $10 became 40 like that. And then you're going to get 3 months free of windailysports.com. And that's 90. So right on top of it, we just gave you $130. You're welcome. Just take it. Just take it from us. And then we'll make you even more money because you're going to read all our articles, check out our projections, and you're going to talk to Stoweby and everybody else in that expert Discord chat. So let me bring up some Monkey Knife Fight plays. Here is the one Stoweby and I were talking about that he's liking a little bit. So we'll see where he goes with it. But Monkey Knife Fight's super easy. It's just a lot of over-unders. It's player props. We all love player props. And this one's even more fun because they give you a little bit of a bonus, right? So we have the passing yards for Carson Wentz and Daniel Jones. We then have the receiving yards for Travis Fulgham and Darius Slayton. They're giving Daniel Jones an extra 15.5 passing yards. They're giving Darius Slayton an extra 12.5 receiving yards. Stoweby, where are you going with this Monkey Knife Fight pick?
I'm still going on the Eagles on both sides, even with the bonus.
Even with the bonus. Yeah.
Yep. I just don't have any sort of faith in that Giants offense. And you tell me that Slayton's got that foot injury. I think it's more than likely that, Fulgham gets at least one more good week, and kind of Wentz leans on him, and maybe one or two to Jackson. But Daniel Jones can't hit anybody.
No. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. He's been bad this year. Not great.
Yeah. I mean, I think they need to stop recycling these same coaches over and over again. But that's a different conversation. They need new blood.
Joe Judge was supposed to be new blood, but that is a different conversation. But anyway,
yeah.
WinDailySports.com. Go to Monkey Knife Fight. Deposit $10. Promo code WinDaily. You put $10 in there. You get a matching 10. We give you 3 months free of WinDaily Sports Gold membership, which is everything that you need to make a lot of money and have a lot of fun doing it. Change your game, change your life, turn your love of sports into a profit center. Stoweby, where can everybody find you on the internet?
You can find me at Stoweby on Twitter, in Discord. You can look me up on Facebook. That's pretty much it. I'm always in Discord, and you guys know that. Yeah, I'll hear
chat. 7 free days in the Discord. Just hang out with Stoweby all you want.
That's it. I mean, I'll answer your questions. I don't turn anybody away. Even if I'm getting ready to go to bed, I'll answer a lot of them. I'll be sitting here getting ready to tuck it in for the night, and I'll have to look something up real quick.
We appreciate the hell out of you for that, brother.
Did we answer Glide for
Glide.
Freeman or Ingram?
Freeman or Ingram. I apologize, Glide. On FanDuel. What do you think? I'd say
Freeman. Yeah, I like Freeman.
Yeah. I mean, Ingram, we haven't seen him do anything this year. We at least know Freeman's going to touch the ball, like a minimum 10 times. Now, I don't know what the hell he's going to do with it, but I don't know.
That's better than 1 or 2 end arounds and one target.
Exactly. What I mean? Or honestly, is it though? I don't even know at this point. That's the problem. So,
it doesn't. He defeated Giants fan, man. I'm telling you,
it's man. I don't know. I don't even know if I want Trevor Lawrence. Like, I feel bad for Daniel Jones. I hated the pick. Then he looked okay, and now he's surrounded by literally nothing. So I don't even know. Like,
I ultimately think that your problem doesn't lie with the players. You know what I mean?
I mean, some of it does. There's no talent.
Yeah.
There's really no talent on that team. I think that part's pretty important. But
they got a little bit of. I think Slayton's talented. I think that Ingram is talented. Obviously, you can't do anything about the Saquon injury. Shepard was a good guy out of the slot. You guys have some pieces there. It's just the way that it's being utilized. It's a bland, vanilla style offense, and when people that know a little bit about football can sit there and look at the way you're scheming your offense from sitting at a TV screen and know what you should be doing, and you do the exact opposite over and over again, that's just terrible.
Not great.
Mm-mm.
So shout out Jason Garrett. Everybody, let's clap. Let's clap, everybody. Let's clap because that's the only thing he's really good at. So thank you, Stoweby, for everything that you do. We appreciate the hell out of you. Oh,
Oh,
what's the captain
Rodney.
for Draftkings? We went Carson Wentz, we think is going to be the chalk. And then we think Boston Scott's a pretty good pivot. One more pivot. You want to give him one more pivot?
Fulgham.
Fulgham. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Yep, that's probably where it is. We're all Eagles tonight. We don't think the Giants are going to be capable of doing anything. Go Cowboys. Yikes. Sorry, Michael.
Hey man, me and you have talked to that one. Like,
yeah, we don't.
We
sorry,
gotta.
buddy.
Maybe when you guys have another sleepover with another potential head coach and get you somebody else in there.
Kind of cute. Let him lie to you about that stuff. Start to Fulgham, Freeman, Boyd, and Crowder. Kalen. That's a really good
PPR.
question. Yeah, I assume if you don't play PPR, like I don't really understand.
Yeah,
Like, just play PPR. It's more fun, more points, more fun. Everyone likes that. I would
Boyd,
say
Boyd and Crowder if it's a PPR.
I would.
I mean,
half point.
Oh, half point. Oh,
I'd go
Freeman. Or you think Fulgham?
No, I would say Fulgham and Boyd. What were you gonna say, Freeman?
I'm a Crowder truther, so even with
I have
Flacco.
him on 2 teams and I love it, but he gets like 11 points and 7 of them are the receptions. Like,
yeah, that is true. He does.
He doesn't get that many yards. He's had a couple good games with yards.
Well, 3 or 4, he actually exceeded 100 yards. It was this last game was like the first time he hasn't exceeded 100, and that's my thought on him. He is their only weapon, even if their team sucks. At least we know he's good. Out of all of them, he's the best thing that they have.
That's a good way to say it. So we're actually kind of split. So sorry, Caitlin. I don't know who you
can't,
I would listen
can't
to
give
Stoweby.
you consensus.
Listen to Stoweby. He's thinking you said Freeman and Crowder?
Freeman and Crowder. Yeah.
I would listen to Stoweby over me. He's I'm the talker. He's the analyst, and that's why we appreciate him. But you can find me at Michael Raziel 1 if you just gonna come follow me on Twitter. I got some stuff that's going on over there. Obviously, you can go again, windailysports.com/chat. You can talk to both of us in the Discord. We are there. We are there to help. Again, more so Stoweby, but I'm there. I can do what I can do. And monkeyknifefight.com, promo code WinDaily. What do you got?
Oh, I was just Kalen. Yeah, it's kind of a 50-50, but I mean that would be my lean. I like to have a running back, and Freeman is their their starting back, and Philly does run a wide 9 style defense, so I think they will have some holes, and he might be able to get one in. I don't know what his touchdown prop is today, but I think he could run one in.
He had a higher touchdown prop. Let me just look that up here.
I want to make sure we give you some good information before we send you on your way.
Devonta Freeman. Oh, not first. He is plus 900. So he's the second highest to score first. So that's something.
And plus, is that, man, it's being all funny for me.
This is good. This is good TV.
Oh yeah, that's great. Nothing like dead air. Is that plus? I'm getting plus 160.
160 to score. Yeah. For some reason, it's just showing me. Oh wait. Yeah, plus 160. Yep. Okay. So I think he's going to get in second highest on the slate or on the game tonight. So awesome. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to Stoweby. Thank you for the Win Daily Sports family. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Make sure to come back. We're here to answer questions. We do this for you guys. So appreciate you all. We hope you make it a very, I guess you enjoy the game tonight. I don't know. Make it a profitable night. That's the way
if you win, you'll enjoy it.
Exactly. Awesome. Thanks everybody.